Welcome to the Naples Money Managers News You Can Use. It is Monday morning, the 25th of January, 2021, which just seems impossible to be saying.
Doesn't it?
And I have
What happened to 2020?
I'll tell you what happened to
I'll
2020.
tell you what happened.
It smashed under my feet.
And it was about a year ago exactly when it hit.
All this COVID stuff hit. I mean,
Yeah.
that's hard to believe, right? So it's nice to have everybody here and everybody well and healthy again. You're looking really good, Dennis.
Well, thank you.
You're all puffed up there, and yep, look at that. Okay, so I have so many little things that I can share with everybody on News You Can Use that I'm going to try and cut it down a little bit. I mean, I have a piece on like headaches, believe it or not, and how many people get migraines. Like 12% of the population get migraines, and they used to think it was a vasodilation. Does that sound? I think that has something to do with your blood vessels. I don't know. I'm not medical.
Maybe so. Yeah.
I'm not medical at all, but now they're saying it's like things like most frequent in women, by the way. That's because all the men give us great big headaches. I take that back. I love all of you. But it said some of it is stress, hormonal flux, hunger, weather changes.
Hunger?
Yeah, but so basically it's kind of everything, all right? Weather changes, food sources, neck issues, lighting, alcohol, being overtired. Food like caffeine, red wine, aged cheeses like brie and blue cheese, and MSG. So basically, don't do anything, don't say anything.
I was going to say, how do you?
You'll be fine.
How do you adjust for all that?
I thought that was kind of funny. I also have a piece, and maybe we'll do it next time, on changing your email address. I think this is something that a lot of people need to really seriously consider in today's world, is starting fresh with a new email address. And I have some tips on that. Actually, the tips on the headache and the tips on the email address were in, let me see here, the Old Naples News. This little, I don't know if you can see it, but this little magazine that is put out, it's done by regional area, and they've got some really good tips in there. So if you see it, pick up a copy and flip through that. And Joel, you're welcome. Just tell everybody about that. But we'll go over email tips at another time. Some other interesting things were, I don't know if the last time you were on, you told people about the scams for COVID, and you do need to know there is no fee ever for COVID. So a lot of people got on the Eventbrite site, which is apparently what the Collier County has contracted with Eventbrite. Guess what? They usually book events like tickets to concerts. So it was very confusing. And then on there, at least it did when I went on there, it said buy a ticket. So you immediately thought it was a scam, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a zero cost. I don't think it says buy a ticket anymore. But I do know that Anna Maria in our office, she was able to get on there when they said they were open, and she got an appointment. So
She did.
Be diligent. Check it repeatedly and as often as you possibly can. Also, Publix. There is a site, publix.com/COVID vaccine. But it'll tell you where they are. They hadn't gotten down to Collier County yet. But it's getting more and more available, I think. They've rolled out all the nursing home ones, and now I guess skilled living, non-skilled and assisted living will be the next
priority group.
And I don't know if you realize, but they had so much trouble with the skilled nursing because so many of these people couldn't say, yeah, I want the vaccine. So they had to go and contact the person who was in charge of that person to get permission first before they could disperse the vaccines. And then they wouldn't go until they had permission from everybody because they weren't going to keep going back to the nursing homes over and over. So that's something that could have been handled a little better and ahead of time. That's one of the reasons. So just an interesting number two, I'm going to ask you this question, Dennis. This is on Alex Trebek died, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And how many shows do you think he actually did of Jeopardy? And I knew you were going to calculate this in your little numerical head.
Yeah, but I forgot to calculate.
Okay, so guess. How many do you think shows he did over his lifetime?
I would
guess. Everybody. Come on, write it down.
1,500, probably 20,000.
You're a little high.
How much is a little high?
8,200
Oh,
shows.
I'm a lot high.
That's okay. But
Well, I figured he's been around for 30 years.
He probably died at 120. And he looks great, too, you know? I don't know. A couple of other interesting things were like Walmart's sales have gone. Their online sales are up 79%. I thought that was really interesting. and there's a good one for you for 2021. The IRS is increasing the standard deduction for single taxpayers by $150. So now you have a $12,550 deduction per person.
$150.
Yeah, that's the standard deduction. You know, you can still itemize if you can get over that.
Thanks, Uncle Sam.
Hey, take it when you can get it. Come on. And here's another interesting fact, and then I'm going to stop because we'll go on and on. Delta had banned 460 customers for refusing to wear their masks on a flight. Go
Good.
Delta, right?
Yes.
Go Delta.
Absolutely.
So I will stop right now, and I just got to kind of mark the ones that I already did, so we won't do those next time. But anyway, tell us. We have a new president, we have a new Senate, we have a new House, Congress,
Yeah, new
And-
everything.
and we have new tax laws, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the old stock market.
well, actually, with all this new that's coming on, you know, there's so much talk about change and a new way of doing things, to kind of take this point a little further, there was a very small announcement made last week, and that was that Haven Healthcare closed.
What does that mean?
Now, you probably have never heard of Haven Healthcare.
No.
Haven Healthcare, 3 years ago, was put together by Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Jamie Dimon.
Wow.
And this was a healthcare backed by their businesses, J.P. Morgan, Berkshire Hathaway, and Amazon, to improve the cost to the average person for healthcare.
Healthcare or healthcare insurance?
No, healthcare.
Healthcare, okay.
Healthcare costs.
Okay.
And maybe that includes insurance. I'm sure they were looking at it as the big picture, but that was the goal, to cut the costs. So here we had this grand notion, and no doubt a notion that a lot of people would agree needs to have
Absolutely.
happen. And yet they closed down.
Who closed it down?
They closed it down. They say we couldn't find anything that would work.
Whoa! So the people who organized it closed it down.
Yes.
That's a little scary.
I
mean, that's very
I don't think
disconcerting.
I don't think it's so scary. I think it's pretty obvious is probably going to happen. Trying to reinvent the economy from square one is probably pretty close to as hopeless a task as you can do. I mean, the communists tried it.
Wow.
How well did that work out?
And I suppose if those three guys couldn't do it, or those three companies,
If
it's probably,
anybody could
yeah.
have done it,
Right.
those three guys could have done it, and they
Wow.
and they couldn't. You know, to me, what makes sense is making marginal, at the edge changes over a long period of time to try and bring sense and economies into line with what's going on, rather than trash the system and try and start all over again. You look what's going on in the electric vehicle.
Yeah. What's going on?
I mean, Tesla started in 2003. Marcus tells me.
Well, that makes sense, because I think that's when it was about $12 a share. Maybe I bought it for less when I initially bought it for my husband.
Really?
Yeah, and Kevin was here with
Why
us.
didn't you tell me to buy it?
Well, the worst part was I sold it when it like tripled its money or something. That was before I did that sell half, keep the rest thing.
Yeah, well, that's that sell half, keep the rest thing is really good, particularly when you're in a long run type situation. But it was 2010 before their first production model, the Tesla S, first came out. So that was 7 years after it had started.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't profitable until a year or so ago. This is a very slow process, but now we're seeing the benefits of all that. The electronic vehicle, the electric phenomena as far as vehicles concerned, is really starting to catch hold. But it's been almost 2 decades.
Yeah, and actually, I
This
didn't
wasn't
buy it
somebody
back then.
sitting down and saying, you know, this fossil fuel thing isn't going to work. Let's trash that and start something else. This has been a probably slower going than a lot of people would like to sing, but still dynamic and still evolving, and it evolves right.
Well, I was talking, actually I didn't buy it way back then. I bought it after it made its first cars out there. So, but I was talking to my daughter, my oldest daughter, Neosi, and we were just talking about the changes that in the last, 2 decades from her generation, and she's a Generation X, and what they've seen and the rate. But, that kind of fits in there with all the internet stuff and the cell phones and computers and all of those things that have happened in this, I would say, 25 years of massive change.
Massive change is right as we move to a digital information oriented economy that at the center has the internet.
And it's a little scary because now in the stock market, you see these are the companies that are the center. They aren't the same companies that we all grew up with anymore. They're either catching up or they're getting out. They're failing.
The old companies that are successful in this are the ones that have been successful to adapt to this new environment that we're
So are
we're
you
in.
optimistic or are you
I'm
pessimistic?
I'm tremendously optimistic.
Whoa!
But there's
You hear that?
going to be change, and a lot of change, and you got to be ready for it.
Yeah, you do have to be able to move.
Yep.
You can't be too married to old ideas anymore. But then again, you don't want to just throw them out the window either. So I think there's a nice blend going forward of old and new, and you want the old to be at least trying to be newer at the very least. We're going to do an interview in a little while about Dennis's philosophy, which will be on our new website, which we're hoping to launch right around the first week of February. We're very excited about it, and we'll hope everybody really loves it. But until then, we hope you have a fabulous week out there. Get those COVID vaccines in your arm or wherever they put them. I don't know.
I think it's the arm.
In the arm, okay. And be safe. Talk to you later.